High street brands have been accelerating the pace of fast fashion for years. Trends change overnight, repeating outfits has become a faux pas. And what happens when the trend goes out? The clothes are nothing short of a waste, ending up in landfills and adding to the mountain of waste that already exists. It is said one man's waste is another's treasure. But when basic necessities like clothes become treasure, a gap must be bridged. Founded by Anshu Gupta in 1999, Goonj works to bridge that gap. The NGO provides basic needs like clothes to the underprivileged, but they don't believe in doing it as charity or by compromising one's dignity.
If you see, kapda is only a disaster relief material. Often when the flood happens, the areas are flooded with clothes. Or kapda cloth is actually a charitable subject object. तो हमारा ये था कि भाई if it is a basic need, why no one is working on it? Why it is not a development subject that way? And to be honest, when we started, we didn't know anything about development subject, development issues, whatever. It was a simple thing that there is something which is grossly ignored.
But what motivated Anshu to start Goonj is an even more interesting story. Being an aspiring journalist, Anshu was in search of a story when he came across a rickshaw with something strange written behind it.
तब एक ये मुलाकात होती है इनसे जो हबीब भाई था उनका नाम, he is no more, कि उनकी रिक्शा देखी, तो मैंने उस रिक्शा का थोड़ा पीछा किया. उस पे रिक्शा पे लिखा था दिल्ली पुलिस का लावारिस लाश उठाने वाला. Which means a person who was picking up unclaimed abandoned dead bodies for the local police, and for every dead body I found that he was paid 20 rupees and 2 meters of white cloth.
What was even more shocking was what Habib Bhai's daughter told Anshu, which really drove home the crisis India's poor face over something as basic as clothing.
उनकी बिटिया ने बोला कि जब मुझे ठंड लगती है तो मैं लाश के साथ चिपक कर सो जाती हूँ, क्योंकि लाश तंग नहीं करती, लाश करवट नहीं बदलती. तो बहुत टाइम तक मैं दोनों स्टेटमेंट पे बिलीव नहीं कर पाया. क्लोथिंग की नीड को आप इतनी आसानी से समझते नहीं दैट वे. आई थिंक वन फाइन डे आई रियलाइज दैट इट इज बेसिकली पीपल आर नॉट डाइंग बिकॉज ऑफ कोल्ड, बिकॉज इफ द कोल्ड किल्स पीपल इवन आई वुड हैव डाइड. So if I survive and someone has died, it is not cold, it is the lack of clothing.
Shaken by this experience, Anshu quit his job and started the NGO Goonj to address the crucial gaps in urban and rural areas. The NGO works towards eliminating development issues faced in rural areas by using urban materials as a reward, especially clothes.
Cloth is a very important thing for sure, and we became almost the first institution in the world which has started talking about clothing as a development subject. But we are actually cloth, utensil, footwear, door, window, anything which still has life, which can be reused.
But to think that Goonj is just another NGO donating clothes to the underprivileged is not correct. It's this notion that Goonj is trying to change with their work by eliminating the words charity and donation. Goonj believes when people give away their second-hand material, it's not a donation. One is simply discarding clothes they don't need anymore. The organization channelizes the clothes in rural areas where people still have the utility for them, not as a charity, because Goonj believes the concept of charity hurts people's dignity.
तो तभी ये पूरा मॉडल निकला जिसको हम क्लॉथ फॉर वर्क या डिग्निटी फॉर वर्क बोलते हैं. तो आज हम लोग, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, वी आर ए हार्डकोर रूरल डेवलपमेंट, वाटर, सैनिटेशन, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इंस्टीट्यूशन. तो एक तरफ हमारे यहाँ ये सारा सामान आता है, बहुत रिगरस प्रोसेस से निकलता है, बिकॉज द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम विद द डोनेशन इज दैट वी गिव व्हाट वी हैव, वी डोंट गिव व्हाट पीपल नीड.
Through a very detailed process, with much care, the organization matches the need of people in rural areas. The physical condition of the material is checked and turned into kits. These kits are then sent to various communities, slums and villages.
You can say there are three stakeholders or there are three steps. First is the collection of material. Okay? which is the urban underutilized material people who are not, the material which people are not using. So as I said, cloth, utensil, footwear, door, window, wash basin, pipe fitting, anything and everything. Second part, it goes through very rigorous process of matching the need. Say suppose you are talking about the footwear for the mountains, say for Uttarakhand, for the women. So common imagination is chappal or sandal, but out there they need sport shoes. So with that minute thinking and process, we do the processing. Then it is converted into various family kits, disaster relief kit, cloth for work or dignity for work kit, school kit, menstruation hygiene kit. ये तो हर किट में जा रहा है ना, नया जो आया है। ये जो पूरा सेक्शन है, अब ये पूरा किट मेकिंग का है। तो ये जो अब आपका ये जो पूरा बन रहा है, तो उसमें एक किट में नॉर्मली ऑलमोस्ट इतना सब सामान रहता है। तो जगह जगह से पूरा सॉर्ट होके यहाँ पे आता जाएगा एंड देन स्टार्ट गोइंग। उसी में फिर आपके वो बहुत सारे ऑफिसेस को छोटे इंस्टीट्यूशन के सपोर्ट करते हैं, तो वो आपकी ऑफिस किट बन गई, या आपकी फीमेल की मेल की वेडिंग किट बन गई, ये बच्चों की किट बन गई। अब जैसे ये है, ये आपका जो बिल्कुल लास्ट इंच ऑफ क्लॉथ है, जो टेलरिंग की भी वेस्टेज है सपोज, वो सब इसके अंदर भरी हुई है। कतरन, ठीक है, जो एक्चुअली जलती है या फिकती है, या आपके जैसे ट्राउज़र के ये है, ये वाला ऊपर वाला बेल्ट वाला पुट, वो इसमें आ जाएगा। अब ये करीब 1.5 किलो का होता है। अब विमेन गेट्स अबाउट 30 रुपीज़ टू मेक इट। तो देर आर विमेन जो एक दिन में 600-800 रुपये कमाती हैं घर बैठ के। और ये आपने 1.5 किलो वेस्टेज जलने से या फेंकने से रोक ली। उसके ऊपर एक कपड़ा लगाया, बढ़िया स्ट्रॉन्ग स्टडी सिला, और ये एक गांव के स्कूल के बच्चे का स्टडी आसन बन गया। वॉशेबल है क्योंकि कपड़ा है। ये हम लोगों के लिए विमेन किट अलग बनती हैं, तो मतलब एक उस महिलाओं के लिए बिल्कुल एक अलग डिग्निटी किट टाइप की बनती है। उसमें आपके सैनिटरी पैड्स भी होते हैं, महिलाओं के यूज़ की और चीज़ें होती हैं। यहीं से फिर आपका वेडिंग किट के लिए सारा सामान जाएगा।
Millions of women across the world don't have access to hygiene products while menstruating. Sand, jute, ash, or even cow dung are used as an alternative for sanitary napkins, putting women at grave risk. This is where Goonj made cloth a solution and called it My Pad.
Anything which is like cotton, semi-cotton, which is of no use for the larger part of the world, that comes to us, that is converted into a 100% biodegradable, cheapest possible, reusable sanitary pad, which is now called My Pad. And we don't even call it a sanitary pad. We say it's a better piece of cloth.
While the organization helps rural areas with their needs, Goonj has also ensured that no person with capabilities who wants to work is left behind. 70% of Goonj's team comprises of talented women who never got a chance for employment. Today, these women have carved a path to financial independence and self-sufficiency.
जैसे देखिए, कहते हैं कि रीयूज कैसे किया जाता है, हम लोग भी रीयूज किए, पर जितना अब हम यहाँ पे गुंज में आके जैसे हाइजीन पर मैं ध्यान दी हूँ, वो चीज़ हम लोग कपड़ा तो हमारी मम्मी बता दिए जो कपड़ा यूज करना, पर हाइजीन वो नहीं बताए। जैसे गांव में इस चीज़ पे बात ही नहीं किया जाता था, छुपा के रखना। जैसे मतलब जब भी महावारी आते थे तो छुपा के मतलब उसमें जाला है जो भी है झाड़ के यूज कर लेते। पर यहाँ जो है मैं साफ़ सफाई पे बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब फोकस किया जाता है। इस पे मैं अब जब गांव जाती हूँ और घर पे बोलती हूँ तो गांव वाले कहते तुम नर्स की नौकरी कर रहे हो क्या।
जो छोटा कपड़ा बचता है उसको कॉटन होती है जो यहाँ लाते हैं, और बाकी जो ओवर साइज है उसको काट के हम अच्छे से बना के छोटा 28-30 कमर बनाते हैं, उसको हम गांव में भेज के जहाँ ज़रूरतमंद लोग हैं उनको काम आता है।
GT गोइंग का जैसे स्कूल में हम सोच भी नहीं सकते थे जब हम अपने बच्चे को पढ़ाओ, तो हमारे मदद से हमारे बच्चे GT गोइंग का जैसे स्कूल में पढ़ते हैं, तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। काम के बदले हमें पैसा मिलता है, और जब हम वीडियो देखते हैं और हम फील्ड में जाते भी हैं तो मुझे लगता है कि जो मैं अपने काम करके मुझे बहुत संतुष्टि मिलता है।
Reusing clothes, giving employment opportunities to women and bridging a gap between urban and rural. That's why Goonj's effort is a perfect example of clothes with a conscience.
मैं कहूँगा कि this is one step ahead of recycling, right? I think the most important part, especially in the era of that climate change and whole lot of wastage which we all are creating, the size of the landfills which is grown and it is actually taking away the land and all. What we need to understand is that we have to do the optimum utilization of everything.
Our feet are the foundation of our everyday life. We spend most of our lives in shoes. But do you know that from production through end of life, shoes have a big impact on our environment? Some reports even suggest that the footwear industry globally is responsible for 1.4% of greenhouse gas emissions. One pair of sneakers generate enough CO2 emissions to keep a 100-watt light bulb on for a week. But at Greensole, things are being done a little differently. Founded by Shreyans Bhandari and Ramesh Dhami, Greensole recycles discarded shoes into comfortable footwear and keeps them from ending up in the landfills. Shreyans and Ramesh are both athletes who ran hundreds of kilometers every year. Soon they realized that throwing 3 to 4 pairs of shoes due to wear and tear. This is when the duo thought about the unaddressed problem of footwear waste and how many shoes were going to landfills.
So these old shoes are made of multiple materials. These are not single material that they'll decompose away. They're made of plastic, rubber. It's estimated that 60 parts go into making a shoe. It's a complex process. And these things are dumped. Ultimately they end up in landfill, whoever uses it. And they lie there for thousands of years and they don't decompose. They are incinerated, which is also harmful for the environment. So the only way we have is the company should make good footwear which is single material and good for environment. We started thinking, what could we use of this discarded shoe? And that's where the idea of Greensole came about, where we started reusing our old pairs of shoes. And from recycling that one pair of shoe, we have reached about 5 lakh pair recycled till now. Old shoes which have made into slippers and then given to people in need.
With the aim to make an eco-friendly and more sustainable brand, they launched Greensole in 2015. While they started by recycling old shoes for corporates and under various corporate CSR programs, today they get discarded shoes from schools, societies and individuals.
Regularly we receive old shoes, about 10,000 pairs every month. In a year about 2 to 3 lakh pairs are received and also upcycled in our manufacturing unit.
While footwear is a common sight in urban areas mostly taken for granted, there are many across the globe who cannot afford shoes. A WHO report says 1.5 billion people get infected by diseases because of lack of proper footwear. This is where the conscience kicks in. Most of the upcycled shoes are sent to rural areas to meet the needs there.
And what we do is, we are recycling old shoes which is good for environment. We are donating them to children in need, which is a social good. And we are also employing people in need of jobs and creating skill empowerment. So we are doing social good, environmental good and economic good. Until now we have donated more than 500,000 pairs of slippers. That is like 5 lakh, and our goal is to reach about 10 lakh in the next 2 to 3 years. So it's mainly shoes and apparel which is made into slippers, bag, mat and different kind of kits. So a child gets a pair of footwear from which they can walk to school. They also get a bag. So it's not just giving them essentials but also giving them products which are good for the environment.
Greensole has collection points across various cities in India. The discarded shoes go through a rigorous process to get a new life.
So we receive a lot of old shoes and apparel. We have a process to sort them out, and once we receive these old shoes, we cut out the insole out of it. So we have a process where each kind of a shoe, whatever we receive, with the help of Ram Exports, we are able to make it into standardized slippers. And it's not just the sole of the slipper that we use. From different parts of the shoe, we are able to cut out the uppers also. We use laces which are weaved and made into upper. So by using 80% of the shoe, we are able to make a pair of slipper which is brand new, and a person can wear it to school and different things.
While streetwear brands accelerate the pace of fast fashion, there are individuals who understand the impact this has on the environment and are trying to do their bit. Greensole has also received great response from the consumers for the environmental and social change their brand brings to the table.
And ultimately, we have to take the effort. The government has to take an effort. The companies need to take an effort. Only when we take a joint effort, we'll be able to do good for the society and the environment. So I see a lot of positive impact, and it will continue.
You too can get an old pair of shoes recycled and give it a new life. Collective efforts can go a long way to help the environment by reducing waste and at the same time bridge the gap between urban and rural.
You can go on to the website greensole.com, where you can see where to donate your old shoes. Please do join this movement. One shoe can make a huge difference in the life of a person and also the environment.